Greetings, all. Last week, what a wonderful conversation, and what a wide range of experiences and examples with regard to respecting clients' confidentiality, and also collaborations, um, in addition to challenges. Um, I wanted to underscore a few themes. Um, Several of you talked about the challenges in rural communities. As Kimberly points out, it's very hard to keep confidentiality in a small community because everybody knows everyone, and you have many hats in a small community. Nisha relates also to community college, where it's difficult for supervisors to recognize the needs of a rural community that's so different from the needs of the community where the headquarters is. Several of you talked about the challenges of collaborating with parents to meet the needs of kids. Ashley, Joanne, and Sandy all have those experiences in common. It's very important to build relationships with parents before you need them. And I think if schools did this more often, then they would find that parents were much more responsive. Those relationships are critical and also take time to build. Heather talked about the frustrations of depending on other agencies to meet court deadlines. And several of you talked about the challenges of working with other departments in the same agency to serve clients. Ajay mentions student progress reports, and Cassandra and Joanne have similar challenges. And Michael describes the challenges of getting other staff to participate in follow-up with student issues. Several of you talked about the challenges in coordinating with other agencies to get services for clients. For example, Elizabeth talks about healthcare, saying oftentimes my clients are treated with more respect and dignity if I accompany them. And they say they feel more heard, understood, and their symptoms are taken more seriously if I or my supervisor accompanies them. With each of my clients, I often act as a mediator of services, helping them connect with the services they need to help them navigate through the system. And this advocacy and mediator role, those roles are so very important. You had wonderful exchanges about protecting clients' confidentiality. Megan's story of people calling homeless shelter, asking if a relative or friend is there, and your solution, which is very creative, saying we're not allowed to confirm or deny if the person you're looking for is here. However, if I do see the person you're looking for, I will have them call you. I then take down their number and inform the person they're looking for. If they want to call her back, they can. You also discuss protecting client confidentiality from intrusive and intimidating professionals, and describe some great strategies for doing this. Scott pointed out in behavioral health and recovery services, and as Heather points out, with sheriff's deputies, thinking intimidation could be a viable shortcut and alternative to doing the work of following other available legitimate avenues. Joanne describes police lurking outside the homeless youth agency, and doing a home visit, and ICE arriving, and then the family shutting the door. And Nikki describes resisting probation agencies asking for, quote, anonymous tips regarding clients' confidential information. You all are very creative, and it's alarming, but very common that other professionals will ask you to break confidentiality. Christy describes a situation in which an agency policy conflicts with worker ethics. And Nisha notes that self-care might sometimes mean taking a stand or even quitting your job or even reporting your agency to a higher power if their guidelines feel completely unjust. As several of you discussed, the NASW Code of Ethics can be very valuable in protecting you and guiding you. Amanda says, luckily, as social workers, we're given the opportunity to provide our clients with confidential aid, which means that until a court of law requires otherwise, we're free to act in our clients' best interests within our roles as social workers without facing legal recompense. In this sense, the standardized codes of ethics for social workers allow us a clearer path than our personal codes of ethics might. You also discussed the fact that NASW codes, the code it offers a useful guide, but doesn't cover every situation. As Megan puts it, you cannot expect to always be able to find the answers or follow all of the rules completely in social work. Everything is situational. And sometimes there are issues that the ethical foundation of NASW may not have covered. This is when your personal intuition should come into play. And thinking that Haley underscores the importance of asking your supervisor before acting on your personal intuition because of the importance of protecting yourself. Elizabeth describes a time when it's important to bend the rules, for example, giving Band-Aids and Neosporin to clients at the food pantry. And Cecilia describes dilemmas in which having to report families to agencies may actually cause more harm than good, and that being a difficult choice. As Michael points out, I like to thoroughly examine the rules of whatever organization I'm working with. If I see something that seems like it will put me in an intense dilemma, I will negotiate my standing with those rules. My idea of social work is to reduce harm and increase benefit, and if the rules affect either of these goals in a negative way, the rules will be broken. With regard to protecting undocumented clients, Tori describes don't ask, don't tell stance with regard to serving students. And Jessie provides a wonderful and also infuriating scenario in which the law and also the officers of the law define multiple NASW ethics and basic human rights, as with those awful ICE raids in your community. And Sandy points out, no matter what side of the political fence we're on, we must keep the best interests of our clients in mind when working with them, knowing and protecting their rights. You can see this has been a wonderful conversation, and together you have examined these issues related to agency coordination and confidentiality. Um, and this collaborative examination will be useful to everyone. I'm glad you have it on your hard drive.